Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Hello, good evening. Come to you live from the National News Studio. Welcome to the news. I'm Clifford Richards.
And I'm Natalia Veeravardhana. First, let's take a look at the headlines for tonight.
A high-powered presidential commission to investigate coal procurements. Minister of Energy and Ministry Secretary resign, paving way for an independent investigation. A haul of heroin worth 4,000 million rupees from the fishing vessel taken into naval custody. Reverend Father Cyril Gamini says impartial investigations are on regarding Easter Sunday attacks. Propaganda regarding a barrel of crude oil was purchased at a price of $286 false, affirms the chairman of CPETCO. Indian Vice President to arrive in the island on Sunday on an official visit. More than 20 people die in drowning during the last 5 days. Israel and Lebanon agreed on a ceasefire, says President Trump.
Moving on to stories in detail, President Anukumar Dissanayake appoints a presidential commission with full powers to investigate the coal purchases.
Accordingly, investigations will be conducted to determine whether any irregularities or illegal acts occurred during the importation of coal and the generation of electricity by the state-owned Lanka Coal Company Private Limited or its successors from the inception of coal-based power generation in Sri Lanka until the period ending the 16th.
The chairman of this commission is Supreme Court Justice Gihan Kulatunga. Its other members include Court of Appeal Justice Aditya Patavendige and High Court Justice Sanjeeva Somaratna. P.V. Bandulasena, a former secretary to a state ministry, serves as the secretary. The mandates assigned to the new commission are to investigate whether irregularities or illegal acts occurred in the procurement process related to coal imports to Sri Lanka and to assess the financial loss to the government, if any, to investigate whether substandard coal was imported during the relevant period and to examine the entire interconnected process, including the procurement process, supply process, quality testing process, operational process and utility process, to look into whether electricity generation using the imported coal was carried out at the expected levels of productivity, to inquire whether legal and financial irregularities or illegal acts occurred within the power generation process if substandard coal was indeed imported, to investigate whether there were breaches of declared terms of conditions within this process, and if so, whether measures such as suspension of payments or other compensatory actions were taken against such breaches, to identify the political authorities, government officials, officers of Lanka Coal Company Private Limited, suppliers or their representatives responsible for such incidents, and to propose future actions to be taken against them, and to propose measures to be taken to ensure proper integrity and prevent the recurrence of such alleged malpractices or illegal acts in the future. In addition, the Presidential Commission has been tasked with reporting on any other malpractices or illegal acts that may be reported regarding coal importation and electricity generation, and investigating and reporting on measures to prevent such situations.
Meanwhile, Minister of Energy Kumara Jayakudi and also the Secretary to the Ministry, Professor Udayanga Hemapala, have resigned from their respective posts. Well, this was conveyed through their letters of resignation submitted to the President Anukumar Dissanayake. The Energy Minister and the Secretary have resigned from their positions to facilitate an impartial and independent investigation to be conducted by the Special Presidential Commission appointed to examine the process related to coal imports. The President today appointed a Special Presidential Commission of Inquiry to investigate whether irregularities and illegal acts have occurred during the importation of coal and the associated generation of electricity. In his resignation letter to the President, Kumara Jayakudi stated that he appreciates the President's courageous determination against corruption and his commitment to the people's mandate, as evidenced by the decision to appoint a special presidential investigation commission regarding the coal supply, and the President's secretary filing a complaint with the CID to conduct a formal investigation into coal imports since 2009. Accordingly, Kumar Jayakudi stated that he believes the upcoming investigation should be conducted very independently and without any bias, and based on this stance, his remaining in the position during the investigation could be an obstacle, and therefore he is resigning from the ministerial post effective from today. Professor Udayanga Hemapala, Secretary to the Ministry of Energy, pointed out in his resignation letter that he believes it is appropriate to resign from his current post to ensure independence of the investigations and to facilitate them without hindrance. GMRD Aponso has been appointed as the new Secretary to the Ministry of Energy by President Anukumar Dissanayake. The relevant appointment letter was handed over to him by Secretary to the President Dr. Nandika Sanat Kumar Nayaka at the President's office this evening. GMRD Aponso, who is a senior officer of the Sri Lanka Policy Planning Service, worked as the Senior Additional Secretary to the President on Finance and Economic Affairs. Minister Vijitha Herath says even the audit report has proved that former Minister of Energy Kumara Jayakuri has not committed any fraud in importing coal. The minister made this observation during the media briefing held today at the Department of Government Information. Minister Vijitha Herath says that the members of the COPE committee, including those representing the government, had discussed and decided that an audit investigation should be conducted and an audit report obtained regarding this matter. He noted that accordingly, an audit investigation was held and the report was subsequently presented. The minister emphasized that nowhere in that audit report was it mentioned that the minister had committed fraud or corruption during the importation of coal. Minister Herath further clarified that the audit report only indicated a certain deficiency in the quality of the imported coal, which resulted in a loss. He asserted that the audit report clearly confirms the minister was not involved in fraud and there is no mention of such an occurrence in the report. Additionally, he mentioned that the President had appointed a commission that day, describing it as a very open commission where the public could come forward to present any information, data or evidence processed. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa pointed out that once the Commission's activities commence the following week, individuals should come forward and present any evidence they possess. He expressed the expectation that Sajith Premadas and his team would appear before the Commission to present information they hold against the Minister of Energy. The Minister further clarified that the Commission's investigation would not stop there. The Minister noted that a comprehensive inquiry would be conducted into the coal procurement process from the Lakvijaya Norachole power plant. Spanning from its inception, this investigation would cover term tenders, spot tenders and instances where formal tenders were allegedly bypassed in favor of cabinet decisions to import coal. He concluded by stating that the ministers from those periods would have the opportunity to appear before the Commission and also the Investigation Commission testify to prove their lack of involvement in any irregularities. Minister Bimal Ratnayaka stated that if the lost energy amount were to be fully calculated based on the current diesel prices, assuming that the energy was generated entirely from diesel, the loss amounting to 8,000 million rupees. However, he noted that there was a balance of 915 billion. He assured that the public would not bear any of this loss, explaining that the Public Utilities Commission holds the authority to calculate electricity bills. The minister mentioned that the Commission has guaranteed that these costs will not be added to or reflected in the consumer's electricity bills. Furthermore, the minister clarified that while a loss was indeed occurred, it has been borne by the company. He explained that the financial loss lies with the coal company and also specifically the coal importing company that failed to supply coal of the required quality standards. He concluded by reiterating that neither the public nor the government would be affected by this loss. Well, various parties stresses that a person can present information on possible irregularities and frauds occurred in the importation of coal since a full-powered presidential commission has been appointed.
It is very good that I was very happy to see that the President has appointed a special presidential commission to investigate this coal power plant problem that were complaints about this, and the commission is given the full power to investigate everything from the beginning up to the April 16th of 2026, including procurement process and the agreements that the power plant had with the suppliers and the power production process and the loopholes that were there and how the standard of the coal was measured. Everything is there for the commission to look into, and commission will be opening up, having the open invitation to the general public, and they can come and voice their opinions. And if you have any evidence, of course, you can bring them in and then submit them and then explain your version, and they will look into all those matters and then come up with a solution, or at least the ideas and their conclusions about what has happened.
chairman of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, Janaka Rajakarma, stresses that the corporation has not purchased a barrel of crude oil at a price of $286 and the news spreading on this matter are totally false. He stressed these facts, expressing his views at a press briefing held today. Janaka Rajakarma, the chairman of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, stated that the corporation had not purchased crude oil at a price of $286 per barrel under any circumstances. He clarified that since the onset of the crisis, a shipment arrived on March 11th at a price of $66.99 per barrel. He noted that although supply was subsequently interrupted, the new shipment arriving that day was priced at $71.99 per barrel. Furthermore, he explained that letters of credit had been opened for an upcoming shipment at the end of the month at $71.81 per barrel and for another in the middle of the following month at $113.29 per barrel. He emphasized that it was clear they had not procured crude oil at the inflated prices being reported. The chairman criticized the media for circulating reports of $286 pricing, suggesting they should have verified whether the subject was crude oil or refined products. He pointed out that the CPC's official press release mentioned oil purchases generally, not crude oil. He warned that such misinformation, whether internal or intentional or due to a lack of understanding, creates public unrest and leads to panic buying and queues. He concluded by stating that they had requested relevant authorities to investigate if these reports were part of a disruptive agenda and confirmed that the CPC was seeking legal advice to take necessary actions.
The first crude oil tanker after the commencement of war in the Middle East reached Colombo harbour today. And according to the Ministry of Ports and Civil Aviation, the tanker contains 97,500 metric tons of crude oil. The tanker Desh Mahima belongs to the Indian Shipping Corporation. It arrives in Sri Lanka with crude oil from the United Arab Emirates. According to the Ministry of Ports and Civil Aviation, transferring of crude oil to Sabukaskanda oil refinery has already commenced.
Media spokesman to the Colombo Archdiocese, Reverend Father Cyril Gamini, says that investigations recommends regarding the Easter Sunday terrorist attack is being conducted impartially and in an ordinary manner. He made this comment during a media briefing held today. Media spokesman to the Colombo Archdiocese, Reverend Father Cyril Gamini, said that as investigations were proceeding systematically, it appeared that certain individuals had become agitated. He observed that since the day of the Easter attack, some had attempted to build a narrative claiming that Zahran Hashim and the Muslim extremist group were solely responsible. He noted that books had been written and numerous efforts had been made in the media to confirm this wave, and those efforts were still ongoing. However, the Reverend Father asserted that this was not the case, and the truth was that there were one or more individuals positioned above Zahran behind the brutal attack, which was becoming clear through the current investigations. Furthermore, he remarked that evidence from the investigations revealed that a group within the military intelligence had supported the corruption and criminal activities of politicians. He explained that an attempt was being made to create a narrative that the entire intelligence service, the army or the police were being blamed in order to hunt down these security forces. He urged the public not to be deceived by this narrative, and the Reverend Father emphasized that to protect the honor of the military intelligence and the police, it was essential to identify and bring to justice those who had committed such crimes for personal or political gain. Finally, he concluded that anyone obstructing, misleading or creating opinions against the investigations was acting against justice and the disclosure of the truth. He called upon the investigative units to continue their work without being intimidated by such influences.
Indian Vice President Shri C.P. Radhakrishnan will be on an official visit to Sri Lanka on the 19th and 20th of this month. Bilateral talks will be held as a continuous step of highest level diplomatic activities conducted recently between the two countries. Vice President of India, Sri C.P. Radhakrishnan, is due to hold bilateral talks with President Anukumar Dissanayake and Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya. According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Indian Vice President will attend several special occasions and will also meet political and community leaders during the official tour. Several memoranda of understanding will be signed between the two countries, paying attention to improving projects related to cooperation in development and rehabilitation activities pertaining to Cyclone Ditwa. Well, we move into the cool hills of Nuwara Eliya. A special flower show organized in parallel to the Nuwara Eliya Salalini Vasanthe commenced today with the participation of the Nuwara Eliya Municipal Commissioner.
Winners of the show will receive prizes and certificates tomorrow in the afternoon. The most spectacular attraction of this festival is the vibrant flower show held at the Victoria Park premises. The event was ceremonially inaugurated this morning under the leadership of the District Secretary, with the participation of the Deputy Mayor, the Municipal Commissioner and several other political authorities. This annual exhibition aims to further encourage and uplift flower growers in the region. At this moment, attention is drawn to insights shared by the Municipal Commissioner KMHW Bandara regarding the importance of the initiative to the local community. Further details were also shared on how the flower categories have been organized for this year's competition. Municipal Commissioner KMHW Bandara stated that the event is organized each year with great enthusiasm to benefit local residents, especially those engaged in the floriculture industry in Nuwara Eliya. He explained that despite challenges faced due to minor cyclones in the past, it is encouraging to see participants returning with great enthusiasm this year. He added that the Municipal Council considers this participation a matter of pride and continues to appreciate the contribution of local growers. He further said that the competition is divided into two main categories: cut flowers and floral arrangements. These categories include entries from the commercial sector, home-based producers and government institutions. In addition, opportunities have been provided for children to showcase their creativity. As the Nuwara Eliya Salalihini Spring Festival continues, appreciation is extended to all those who contributed to organizing this vibrant event. Visitors to Nuwara Eliya are warmly invited to witness this beautiful flower exhibition, which is being held today and tomorrow. The prize-giving ceremony for the winners is scheduled to take place tomorrow. This annual event offers a unique opportunity to experience a stunning display of flowers and celebrate the region's rich floriculture. Nuwara Eliya Salalihini Vasanthe, the Spring Festival, Springfest 2026, continues in collaboration with Sri Lanka Insurance Life. With that, we move into a short break. We'll bring you more local news right after this.
Unlock the full potential of your dollars with a Ceylon personal foreign currency account and enjoy exclusive benefits.
Hot and spicy Arudu Fun. Prima Kantumin. Fun Tamai.
Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Welcome back, and we are back with more local stories. Over 150 kilograms of heroin have been discovered from the multi-day fishing vessel which was seized by the Sri Lanka Navy yesterday.
Well, in fact, the Deputy Minister of Defence, Aruna Jayasekara, says that this haul of narcotics has a market value of over 4 billion rupees, and according to the Navy, 10 multi-day fishing vessels that had transported narcotics have been taken into custody this year so far, and narcotics worth over 44 billion rupees have been discovered from these vessels. Well, a stock of suspected narcotics have been in fact used in packaging narcotics and also detected in a multi-day fishing craft travelled in the southern deep sea belt with 4 suspects. The suspected multi-day vessel was brought to the Dikkovita Fisheries Harbour this morning, and the subsequent search, over 150 kilos of narcotics in 6 packs worth over 4 billion rupees were recovered from the vessel, and it has been revealed that a foreign vessel had handed over this haul of drugs to this multi-day vessel. Deputy Minister of Defence Aruna Jayasekara, Navy Commander Vice Admiral Kanchana Banaguda and several others were present to inspect the haul of drugs. The Deputy Minister stated that the total value of heroin and other dangerous narcotics seized by the Navy alone at sea during the 2025 operations exceeded 75,000 million rupees. He noted that the value of the drugs seized in the deep sea during the 4 months from January to April was nearly 50,000 million rupees. He further explained that these narcotics were securely stored in police custody until the conclusion of legal proceedings. He added that once the legal proceedings is finalized, the substances are systematically transported to specific locations and destroyed as seen in the past. Finally, he guaranteed that no opportunity would be allowed for these drugs to enter society again.
According to police, 20 persons lost their lives due to drowning within the last 5 days of the New Year festive season. 10 persons who had gone for bathing in Daduroya were reported missing and 2 out of the 10 were rescued. The bodies of the 8 dead persons have been recovered by this afternoon. 8 persons in the age group of 9, 13, 18, 34, 39, 42, 70 and 72 lost their lives due to this unexpected accident. 2 females, 3 males and 3 school children were also among them and are residents of Kobegane and Kadawatha areas. 2 persons were drowned while bathing in Kachigala tank of Kuttigala Police Division yesterday. They were residents of Radhawan and Imbulgoda areas, aged 60 and 78 years. A 17-year-old youth was also tragically drowned while bathing in Uruveria tank in Mahava Police Division. He is said to be a resident of Moratu area. In another incident of drowning, a 53-year-old lost his life while bathing in Ihalakanabegama tank belonging to Moragada Police Division. Our correspondent reported that he is a resident of Galembindu, Nuwara. In the meantime, 4 reckless motorcyclists have lost their lives at Kumbukweva, Kalugolla, Kapugama and Moragakanda areas. Police media spokesman, Assistant Superintendent of Police F.U. Wootler, said that the unfortunate incident that occurred in the village police area, particularly around the Daduroya region, should serve as a reminder to the public. He noted that the group involved in the incident had chosen a secluded and highly unsafe location and expressed regret that all the adults present had failed in their responsibilities and duties. The police media spokesman further addressed parents who were planning to go on leisure trips during the ongoing festive season, urging them to avoid unfamiliar and unsafe bathing locations if they intended to swim. He emphasized that the Sri Lanka police had deployed more than 400 experienced officers across the country at reservoirs, tanks, lakes and coastal areas to ensure public safety and to supervise designated safe bathing locations. He added that every citizen has a social responsibility regarding their own safety and requested the public to follow the necessary guidelines and act as responsible citizens.
High Commissioner of Sri Lanka to the Maldives, Mohammed Rizvi Hassan, paid a courtesy call on Maldivian Foreign Minister Irzisham Adam today. During the meeting, both sides reaffirmed the long-standing and friendly ties between Sri Lanka and the Maldives, emphasizing the importance of sustained diplomatic engagement. Discussions focused on further strengthening bilateral cooperation in key areas including trade, tourism, education and people-to-people connectivity. The two leaders also explored opportunities to enhance collaboration within regional and multilateral frameworks while expressing mutual commitment to deepening and also deepening partnerships for shared growth and stability in the Indian Ocean region.
All arrangements have been finalized for the renowned Walk for Peace Peace March to be held in Sri Lanka with state patronage from the 22nd to the 28th of this month. A suppling of Jayasri Mahabodhi of Anuradhapura is also expected to be carried during the walk. A media briefing in this connection was held in Colombo today. Venerable Dr. Melpitiya Vimalakirti Thera stated that the Peace Walk would take place from the 22nd to the 28th, while other activities would be held from the 21st to the 1st. He mentioned that Aloka would participate in the entire journey and the Peace Walk. The Thera informed everyone to gather at the Kalani Rajamahavihare on the morning of the 28th as much as possible. Furthermore, the Thera noted that the national ceremony would be held at the Independence Square at 4 p.m, presided over by the President. The Thera remarked that the most historical moment would occur at that location, where the bow suppling obtained from Anuradhapura would be officially diplomatically presented by the President to the delegation from America. He explained that this would establish a legal and diplomatic link between Buddhism in Sri Lanka and America. He added that following the national ceremony, the sacred relics and the bow suppling would be taken in a procession to the Hunapitiya Gangarama Rajamahavihare. Minister Dr. Hiniduma Sunil Senavi expressed his belief that this event would bring a very powerful symbolic message to Sri Lanka. He suggested that this great peace walk would serve as an appropriate occasion for everyone in Sri Lanka to rethink and reflect on Buddhism and the message it conveys. He acknowledged that the blessings and guidance of the Sri Lankan government were being fully received and emphasized that this valuable initiative should be used to create a new way of thinking for the country.
We're now moving on to more local news items in brief.
Urban Development states that the pilot project of the priority bus service for persons with disabilities will begin on the 21st. It is scheduled to commence from the Markumbura Multimodal Transport Centre. This program, initiated according to the government's vision of a country that ensures equal opportunities to human dignity for all, costs 430 million rupees. Under the first phase, 10 modern air-conditioned buses of a special type, which are easily accessible to wheelchair users, are scheduled to be deployed. Each bus can carry 80 passengers at a time and consists of 33 seats. The Colombo Magistrates Court today rejected the bail application of Kapila Chandrasena, the former CEO of Sri Lankan Airlines, who was in remand custody for over an allegation of accepting bribes during the purchase of Airbus aircraft for Sri Lankan Airlines. Accordingly, the magistrate ordered the suspects to be further remanded until the 28th. Former chairman of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, Sarath Kongahage, and additional director general Devapriya Abesinghe, who were in remand custody over a corruption charge, was released on bail today. This was per an order by the Colombo Magistrates Court. 2 personal bails of 1 million rupees each were imposed on each suspect and a foreign travel ban was issued against them. The case is scheduled to be called again on September 8. A commemorative ceremony was held today at the BMICH premises to mark the 110th birth anniversary of the late Sirimava Bandaranaike, the first female Prime Minister of the country as well as the world. It was organized by the Sirimava Bandaranaike Women's Foundation.
The Colombo Stock Exchange ended today's trading positively. The all-share price index closed at 22,773.29 after rising by 184.32 points, which represents a 0.82% change. The S&P SL 20 index closed at 6,263.94, up by 33.17 points and 0.53%. Total market capitalization at the close of trading stood at 8.211 trillion rupees. Market turnover for the day amounted to 4.97 billion rupees with 221.61 million shares traded.
And now for a quick check on the weather. Showers or thunder showers are expected at several places in the western Sabaragamuwa and also the southern provinces as well as the Nuwara Eliya district after 1 p.m. today. And meanwhile, most of the other parts of the island will experience mainly dry weather. Of course, misty conditions are likely during the early morning parts of the central Sabaragamuwa and Uva provinces, and the public is advised to take precautions against strong winds and lightning. Evening thunder showers are also expected to become more widespread across the island from April 20th onwards. Well, this concludes the local stories, and coming up soon will be international stories. Welcome back, and we head to the international stories. US President Donald Trump says that Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a 10-day ceasefire.
Foreign media report that this decision was reached following talks held yesterday between the two sides.
The United States Department of State says celebrations have been reported in Lebanon following the announcement of a 10-day ceasefire, which is expected to create space for discussions between Israeli and Lebanese officials toward a permanent security and peace agreement. The agreement also includes Hezbollah. Foreign media further note that this decision, taken in pursuit of regional peace, has drawn significant international attention. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu states that the ceasefire with Lebanon could pave the way for a historic peace agreement. However, he emphasizes that Israeli forces will continue to remain in security zones in southern Lebanon. He also notes that disarming Hezbollah will be a key demand of Israel in the upcoming discussions. The Prime Minister further states that Israeli troops will not withdraw from areas extending up to 10 kilometers into southern Lebanon, pointing out that this is necessary to prevent potential attacks on Israel. Accordingly, the Israeli military has warned Lebanese residents not to move south into the Litani River and has deployed military units in those areas, according to reports. Prime Minister Netanyahu also highlights that issues related to Hezbollah's missile systems will not be addressed in the future. Meanwhile, he states that President Trump has informed him of a firm commitment to completely eliminate Iran's nuclear capabilities. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif of Pakistan states that declaration of a 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon is a significant development. He describes the steps taken by President Trump to achieve this agreement as a bold and strategical diplomatic. He also reaffirms that Pakistan will always stand for Lebanon's sovereignty and territorial integrity. President Trump further states that they are very close to reaching an agreement to end the war against Iran, adding that discussions could resume early this weekend in Islamabad. He also notes that Israeli Prime Minister and Lebanese President are scheduled to meet in Washington, D.C. next week. Reports indicate that heavy Israeli strikes were carried out in southern Lebanon just hours before the ceasefire came into effect. The death toll from these attacks has risen to 2,196. The ceasefire has been welcomed by several countries including Iran, Qatar and Jordan. Meanwhile, President Trump says they are very close to reaching a new agreement with Iran regarding nuclear weapons, which could remain in effect for more than 20 years, with discussions set to take place this weekend. However, sanctions blocking Iranian ports continue to be strictly enforced. According to the US Central Command, 14 vessels attempted to reach Iran have been turned back by US forces. A proposal brought forward by diplomatic party to limit the president's authority to declare war against Iran has been rejected by the US House of Representatives.
Hot and spicy Aurdu Fun. Creamer Cultivate. Fun.
And we are back with sports news. Sri Lanka women's cricket team participating in Bangladesh tour left the island in the morning today after attending religious observances held at Sri Lanka cricket. 3 one-day internationals and 3 T20 matches will be played between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh teams. Sri Lanka Cricket announced the Sri Lanka women's cricket squad participating in the tournament yesterday. Chamari Atapattu will lead the ODI and the T20 teams. 16 players are included in the ODI squad, while there are 15 players in the T20 team. Vishmi Gunaratne, recuperating from an injury, will miss the tour. One-day international will be played at Rajshahi on 20th, 22nd and 25th of this month. First match of the T20 tournament will be played on the 28th, while the remaining 2 matches are scheduled for the 30th of this month and 2nd of May. All the 3 matches will be played at Sylhet. And that's all the news we got for you tonight. Join us same time tomorrow as well. Good night.